Hey,
All
hey.
right, and if StreamYard is to be believed, we are now live. So, welcome back, everybody. It is Wizardly Rambling number 11, and I am joined by my good friend Scott the Bald Booktuber. I do have his channel linked in the description box down below. He is only 50 subscribers, 52 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. You should go and subscribe. I 100% endorse this. But, Scott, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm the Bald Booktuber. I used to make videos. Sometimes I still do. I've been on Booktube now for a little more than a year, I guess. Started sometime in 2023. Usually you'll find me talking about one of Hobb, Rockio, Martin, Abercrombie, or some miscellaneous stuff, but it's usually kind of centers around those things. McCammon, for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of my goal right now is over the course of the next few years, I want to take out all of the Stephen King catalog. So
All of it?
yeah, so I'm like 25 books I've read, and I want to read all of them. So um, I'm going to focus on the novels, and I'm going to focus on stuff that it's been more than 2 years since I last read it. So we did the read along for the series that I can't think of now because my brain isn't working.
Dark Tower?
What's that?
Is it Dark Tower?
Dark Tower. Thank you. My brain was saying Wasteland. I'm like, that's not right. So,
One
yeah,
of them.
so we did Dark Tower, and so I won't reread those. I just read, for instance, Carrie and Salem's Lot and a lot of the early ones. So, so this month I tackled The Stand, which I hadn't read in about a decade. It was great.
Oh, wow.
And I did The Long Walk, which I've never done and was really great. I don't know if you've read it, but it
Nope.
is.
I'm still making my way through the catalog myself.
But other than that, I have a new Cubs hoodie, so I'm really excited about that. My wife got me this as an early birthday present, so that's excellent. We love my wife; she's the best. So Debbie, thank you, love you. But yeah, other than that, just love talking books, and you and I align on many things, but the things we don't align on are kind of ongoing jokes. So
There was a joke for at least 7 months where like you would start talking about a book and then I'd come in and comment. And you're like, oh, here's Andrew to come crap all over my favorite books.
that's the way it should be, right? That's all right.
I mean, yeah, it's fine, but King is a great place for us to start because
Yeah,
I'm actually currently reading a King book.
yeah,
I'm 60% through Mr. Mercedes for the first time.
yeah. I read Mr. Mercedes a long time ago. I haven't read the rest of the trilogy though, so I don't know where it goes. I remember enjoying it, but beyond that, I don't have a lot of recall about whether it was. Yeah, I don't remember it being like top tier or anything as far as King novels that I'd read, but I liked it.
I wouldn't say it's a top tier so far. I would say it's incredibly solid King.
Mhm.
Like I can't really like it doesn't do anything particularly special to like elevate it, but at the same time, like it doesn't do anything to bring it down either.
Yeah.
But I heard you mention Carrie, and I just read Carrie for the first
Mhm.
time at the end of last year.
Yeah,
And
that's
oh my
about
gosh,
earlier last year. Yeah,
fantastic. It was,
yeah. I
most of my King is
did
the
a
first
lot
time.
of the so like the newspaper clippings and that kind of stuff, the epistolary type of stuff within it. I thought that all that stuff was really cool. Um, yeah, I thought it was very solid as far as his first published novel goes. I was very impressed. The Long Walk is crazy.
What's that?
So that was the first book he wrote as an 18-year-old. He ended up publishing it later under Richard Bachman
Okay.
after he was already known, and he's like, I want to start all over again and do it under a different name. The Long Walk is nuts. So you could see some ideas for Hunger Games and this kind of stuff later on, but they round up basically 100 boys from across the U.S. and they're in a contest that is literally just walking until they die. So they set them up at the tip of Maine and they say just walk, and the moment that they can't go any further, they get shot. And
Oh gosh.
the last person standing wins the prize, which you find out what the prize is as you go. Um, it's insane because it seems like that would be a boring book or it wouldn't be interesting, but like
Jason, long walk but a short read.
it's a very short read. Yeah, I took it down in a day. Like it was
Oh.
Very, very short. It's 300 pages, but it flows like it's like butter. The thing goes super smooth. So if you're gonna do a king and you just want a short one to mix in, it's really good. And I like the audio too. The audio was quite good.
Okay. I was thinking about doing Thinner next because that's one I've heard that's also really good, but I've never read. I still haven't read probably, I'm gonna say 50% of his catalog. I'm still playing catch up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you probably read more than me on the aggregate, but we both have a lot of work to do. So I haven't read Thinner. I remember the movie. I watched that when I was a kid, but I don't. I know the premise, but I haven't read the book. So one of these days I'll get to it.
I haven't even done that, but
I don't remember it being amazing. I don't think it's something.
Not mentioned in the same breath as it. Well, while we're talking about, you did mention the I think I joined for the read along of Dark Tower.
Yeah.
Where did you end up ranking them? Because I know we're going to be wildly different.
Yeah. Well, my favorite is your least favorite. I know that. Wizard and Glass is by far my favorite. I love the stuff where we go back to, him as a younger man and his quartet as a younger man. All that stuff's amazing. I thought the writing in it was the best writing in the series on the whole. My least favorite by far was Song of Susanna. I didn't have a good time with that book at all. And everything else kind of, in between, but 2, 3, and 4 were definitely my favorites of the series on the whole.
Yeah. So for me, I think Wizard and Glass, while my least favorite, has the best Dark Tower content in it. What I don't like about Wizard and Glass is King being King. Inevitably, King's gonna go off on some sexually perverse thing, and I'm just gonna be like, that didn't need to be there. And there's a lot of that in Wizard and Glass, which kind of some. There's just a whole bunch of stuff in there. And I was just like, I didn't need to read that. Like if that hadn't been there, this had probably been my favorite. But I would say Drawing of the Three is still my favorite.
Really good. I love Drawing of the Three. Fantastic.
Have you read Insomnia?
I have not. I should have.
Oh man,
we were doing it because I know there's some tie-ins.
There's a lot of tie-ins to book 7. I literally call it Dark Tower 6.5.
It's got basically the intro of the painter guy, right? Isn't that where we figure out who he is and stuff? Yeah, I have an idea of what it's about, but I haven't gotten to it yet. I haven't read that. I haven't read the Talisman. Like, there's a lot of Dark Tower stuff I haven't read. So,
is Talisman dark? Well, I guess it was. So, Talisman isn't Dark Tower. It was retconned to be Dark Tower.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, okay. It wasn't until Black House came out that it was then they kind of shifted it to like, oh, it wasn't this before, but this is actually what it was. Is what my understanding is.
That's fair. I was super excited for Fairy Tale. I'm like, yes, we're gonna get Tower references. Nothing. There was like one line in there that was like a throwaway line that I was excited about, and the rest of it had nothing to do with what I wanted it to have to do with. But it was fun going back through the stand and seeing some of the Tower references in there. Like there's references to Ka and stuff like that within the stand. So really enjoyed that. Obviously, Randall Flagg and stuff, big Tower references. But
I read the stand after Wasteland.
Okay. Yeah.
So I read it as part of my Dark Tower read because, they do go to this wasted America, which is obviously within the world of the stand. And that's as much as I'm going into it.
No,
but, it made me want to read the stand. And I've actually got, speaking of, where is it? Still got to read this bad boy.
Yeah, Swan Song. Yeah. You do need to read Swan Song. It's amazing.
It's as big as my head.
And it's worth every page. It's so good.
Worth every page.
So good.
So where do you fall on Swan Song? Because I've heard kind of some people say the first 50% is like the best part of Swan Song. And then it kind of falls off towards the back end.
I didn't feel that. I was engaged and loved every page, but I know
in here agreeing with you.
Yeah. I think it's amazing. Crow on our server actually just read it, and it's his, he thinks it's going to be hard to knock that off as book of the year. It's his, his first big book that he read here in 2024. He loved every page also, but I think sometimes it gets unfairly labeled or placed in the same category as The Stand. There's some parallels. Obviously, they're both post-apocalyptic type of stuff, but they both stand on their own and have their own. I love them both individually for different reasons, and would even if I hadn't read the other one. So,
which is better? I'm curious. I'm actually super curious. Which is better, Boy's Life or Swan Song?
Boy's Life or Swan Song? For me, Boy's Life is better, but that's not taking anything away from Swan Song. That's just Boy's Life is one of my favorite books ever. So
I'm seriously, I've actually had the thought. I know you're not big on like physical books unless it's like Sun Eater.
Yeah.
But I've considered shelling out for the incredibly rare, absurdly expensive secondhand market edition of Boy's Life.
Nice.
I shouldn't. But I've considered.
How much does it go for in the secondhand market?
The only one I know listed on eBay right now has a make offer option, so you would have to lowball, but it's $720 right now.
I don't know if I love any book that much.
Well, like I said, I considered it.
I won't be buying that, but if you do, I'm looking forward to the book haul that it's included in. I'll definitely watch.
Oh gosh, that would, if I spent that much money on a book, I'm doing 5 videos about it at least. Like ridiculous.
I've already shown too much on, like, I don't have a lot of special editions, but I did the Way of Kings Kickstarter and I did the Diamond Edition Sun Eater Kickstarter, and I feel like I have to continue with those. So those things are going to take up a lot of my book buying budget.
Yeah. You normally do digital. You're more of a digital reader, ebook and audio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for whatever reason, I used to like just rip through mass market paperbacks as a kid. Anymore, it's just going through hardcover and paperback books doesn't do it for me. I'm usually like squinting at the page. I feel like an old man. Like
Me too.
My joints hurt because I'm having to do all this page. Like it's just not my thing.
Just instead of a tap.
I don't even have to tap if I'm doing immersive reading because it flips the pages for me as it reads. So
is that a Kindle Fire feature?
It's Kindle Fire does it, Apple iPhone. So I read on my phone a lot and on my Kindle Fires. Kindle, like Paperwhite and so forth don't have the feature in them, and Amazon needs to fix that. But all their
absolutely. That sounds like, I was like, wait a minute, like mine doesn't do that because I've got the Paperwhite. And the only thing that my Paperwhite will do is it'll go, hey, like 30 minutes ago, you were further than when you last opened this book. You want to jump to that area? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I'll jump to it, and it's still 10 minutes behind where I'm currently at. I'm like, keep up. Yeah,
a few conditions need to be there. One, it needs to be an audiobook that is WhisperSync enabled. That's very important because not every audiobook is, and more new ones are not. They don't have the feature for whatever reason. I don't know if that's a publisher thing or what. So you need that.
I don't want to lose the money.
I guess, but if it's that, then there's a lot of idiots like me that buy 2 copies of the book because we buy the Kindle version and the audio version so we can use the WhisperSync feature.
Mm-hmm.
So they're actually losing money from me if they don't have that enabled because then I don't buy one or the other. So you need that. You need both copies of it. And then when you go into the Kindle version, there is a tap to download option. It's a link you click on. Mm-hmm. And then it downloads the audio kind of overlaid on top of the Kindle version. And then when you press play, the cursor actually moves along with the audio narration. And it does it to whatever speed you set. So if you're doing 2.5 speed, it will read at that speed, and you can visually see it as you're listening to it. So
that blows my mind.
It's so good. It's my favorite feature that Amazon has ever done, and they should do more with it. And it should be just native on every device they have, but it's not.
I'm so mad right now. I'm so salty about that. I didn't know that was the thing.
I'll link you to a video that shows it.
Please do.
The video that says what is immersive reading, and the guy demonstrates it. But it's awesome. Like it's you guys can all have your physical books. I'm gonna go with my immersive reading option.
Well, I will listen to audio and I'll just turn the page.
Sure. which is a different form of immersive reading. That for sure works too. But what I find is that I have trouble matching the pace, figuring out what to set my audio speed when I have to manually read as well. So it's a me problem, I think.
Yeah, usually, well, it's weird because each narrator kind of narrates at a different speed.
Right.
Like Andrew D. Meredith, he narrates particularly quick, so I have to slow him down instead of speeding him up like I usually do. Like if I go to my normal like 1.5x and I'm like, oh man, Andrew's talking really fast. I'm like, oh, it's Andrew. So I gotta bring that down a little bit because Andrew's talking faster than most people. But then if like Travis Baldry's going, I'll speed him up, mainly because I like the sound of Travis sounding hyperactive.
Yeah.
Especially when he's doing like Cradle or whatever he's currently narrating. Oh, it's amazing. But I usually read faster. I usually read at about what an Audible would be a 1.7 speed.
Gotcha. I've gotten to the point where I do most things in the 1.7 to 2.2 range. It depends on what it is, but that's usually about the pace I go. If it's something that I just want to, sit with it and enjoy the stuff, I'll knock it down to 1.5 or whatever. But for the most part, I'm usually 2+. 2.2 is kind of my cruising speed for a lot of stuff. I was doing the stand at 2.2. So
I mean, you got to if you don't want to spend a week on it.
I did spend a week on it. That was 2.2 was a week. So
oh wow.
But it's 1,300 pages on Kindle,
Yeah.
so it would have taken me much longer than that if I'd have done 1.5 or whatever. So,
I mean, would you listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl, Scott?
I would like to try it. I know you're a big proponent of it. I know Madison loves it. I see her in the comments there. She's talked to me about it. It's something I want to try.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
I don't know if I'd like it or not, so I'm willing to give it a shot. I don't think Cradle is probably up my alley. Like progression fantasy doesn't seem like my thing. I don't think the wandering in that you're doing is probably going to be my thing, but Dungeon Crawler Carl feels like it's humorous and feels Dresden-esque in some ways, and I'd be willing to give that a shot.
So the thing with we'll talk about Dungeon Crawler Carl here in a second, but
Yeah.
The thing with wandering in, the thing I tell people is try the first book. If it doesn't work for you, fine. Like you tried. If you don't like, it's one of those series. Like if you don't like the first book, it's not going to get better for you. It's just it'll improve in quality, but it's going to stay mostly the same.
Yeah.
And it does get darker and stuff like that, and it addresses heavier themes. But people who don't like the main POVs, who don't like the pacing, who don't like any of that, that's not going to change. So I always say try the first book, and then you can decide whether or not you're invested.
You're like, what, 4 books in now?
I just finished book 5.
Okay. And there's how many? Like 20?
Do you really want me to answer that?
Is there more than 20? Is it more than that? Okay. I've heard the narration that is good. Do you like the narration, or have you listened to
Andrea Parsnew is amazing.
Okay. Yeah, I'd heard.
And she sounds fantastic at 2x.
Gotcha. Okay.
She's just amazing. Did I say her name right? Andrea Parsnew. Anyway, Dungeon Crawler Carl, though, is Jeff Hayes.
Okay.
Do you like dirty toilet humor?
I mean, it doesn't bother me if that's what you're asking. Like, it takes a lot to offend me.
Okay.
When American Pie was new, when I was in college, I went and watched it with my buddies like 4 or 5 times. So,
if American Pie doesn't bother you, then you'll be fine. Yeah, it's. I don't know if I would say it's got Dresden vibes. What? I mean, I guess it's kind of. What could I?
And I don't know that anyone explained it that way, so I'm probably putting words in people's mouth, but it just sounds like something that would make me laugh. And when I think of Dresden, it makes me laugh.
It's the series is hilarious, but it's also incredibly dark and poignant at times. That's not the main focus, but I mean, the tagline is "The apocalypse will be televised." Like aliens show up and make humans fight for their entertainment.
Gotcha.
But they start off by killing like 80% of world's population and then shoving the rest underground.
Yeah, I mean, I like post-apocalyptic. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'm willing to try it. And that's what, 7 or 8 books probably, or is it more than that?
We just got book 6.
Okay.
I don't know. So it's weird. It's implied that we could be reaching endgame because there's a certain level where there's supposed to be an out. for the main POV where he can stop being a dungeon crawler.
Gotcha.
But it's also implied we might go past that limit and he might be the first to break the system. So we don't know where that's really all I want to say about it, because I mean it's fascinating to watch it happen.
Is it first person point of view or third person?
Oh god, I'm so bad with tenses. It's from Carl's perspective.
Yeah, first person. Okay.
Yeah, first person.
Cool. Yeah, that one I want to give a shot to. It feels like it's easy enough to do it. Cradle, it doesn't feel like my thing at all. So
that's fine.
I have all of them because they always have them free for some
free. Yeah.
So like I own the stuff, but what does own mean when it's all free? I don't really know. So
that's fine. I've done a lot of Will White. Will White is solid, but like I'm reading The Last Horizon right now. Well, not right now. I've read the first 2 books that are out. I've done his Traveler's Gate trilogy. I've done all 14 of the 14? 13.
It probably is, yeah, somewhere in there, yeah.
13. Anyway, I've done all of the Cradle books. But if anything, you'd like Mage Errant before you liked Cradle.
Okay.
Now Mage Errant's
wasn't the last one? Because I remember, I think Kyle said he was disappointed in the ending. How did you feel about it?
Yes and no. So I like how it ends, but the lead up to the end of the series, there's this really long boss battle. And the boss battle takes forever. Like, it's ridiculously long. Gotcha. It's silly how long it is and how it kind of resolves. But like, I mean, it's like a third of the book, that one fight where like everybody's just throwing everything they've got at this thing. And it's just like, can we please wrap this up?
Fair enough. But see, my problem with progression fantasy. So I used to love Final Fantasy games. Back when I played video games, I loved Final Fantasy. The original is my favorite game ever. I hated grinding levels. Like, it was the most mindless, boring, awful thing ever. And that's what it feels like it would be to go through the Cradle series. And maybe I'm wrong, but that just internally, that feels to me what progression fantasy is watching these characters grind levels. And that just doesn't seem appealing to me. So tell me if I'm wrong on my expectations there.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if it's grinding so much as cheating your way to power. Okay. Like he takes a bunch of shortcuts to power.
I see. Okay.
Like in a very short amount of time, he gets very, very strong because he's got some help.
So is there power creep issues then? Like in book 3, he's uber powerful and he has to.
No, it's not until book probably 10 that he's like a global threat.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like it's a smooth progression of like he's nothing. He's still nothing. He's still nothing. Okay, like you don't want to take a punch from him. Okay, he'll mess you up. But like it is not a straight up just like this. It's more, it goes like this and then it kind of.
Fair enough.
Towards the end of the series, it kind of jumps up in power. A lot of them do that. In fact, one that I don't know if I'm going to continue because it did something silly in book 5, book 4 or 5 that I just thought was dumb. Is Mark of the Fool. Like the first 4 were great, and then I think I read 5, and like it did something silly, and I was just like, why'd you do that? Like you did that too soon, and I had heard that the series was gonna do it, and it did it anyway, and I was just like, ugh. So
you're a Will White fan. Did you do his Kickstarter? He did a Kickstarter,
no.
Right? You didn't do his. Okay.
There was too many at the time. I couldn't.
Gotcha. No, I was just curious. It was the first 3 Cradle books or something like that?
Yeah. Okay. I've got them all in the original paperback size. I couldn't support them.
It almost felt like one of those deals I was going to do to then resell it at a later time, but I decided not. Like, I don't want to be the shyster guy if I don't have to, but I've considered supporting some stuff at times to do that, and then down the line, if I'm not enjoying it or whatever, it's not something I want permanently, I would resell it. But
I mean, it's viable. That's a viable. I mean, that book, the secondhand market is ridiculous.
I know.
If I'm ever selling something secondhand, I try and be reasonable. Like I still want to make something.
Yeah.
Oh hey, yeah, we spoke earlier today. I'm glad you were able to get some help with that.
Nice.
But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so like when I sold my first Law Broken Bindings, like those were going for $300. There was no way. I paid $90 for those. Like I was like, I'm not gonna ask $300 for these. I think did I do like $150 or $200 or something like that? Like it was reasonable.
Still a nice price, but you didn't gouge.
Yeah,
That's
like
good.
there's no reason to take an arm and a leg too, which is why I'm mad at Boy's Life, because I know that book wasn't $700 when it was for sale. So you suck.
So it was the First Law OG series. That's what you had for Broken Binding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it wasn't like the standalones and stuff included. It was just the OG series. Okay.
Let's see those. Oh my God, have you looked at those on eBay? If all 6 of the Broken Bindings, they're wanting $3,000.
I'm sure. I don't even want to know because I would love to have that on my shelf, and I don't have that money, and if I did have that money, I wouldn't be spending it on books. So
it's not that kind of special edition.
I believe, yeah.
If it was like foiled gold, inlaid, like calf's leather bound, like okay, we can talk. Like obviously, this is a premium. They're standard hardcovers.
Yeah.
They're standard hardcovers with beautifully digital printed edges. That's it.
No special artwork or nothing?
No.
Really?
Huh. No.
Like, I'm super looking forward to the Diamond Edition of Sun Eater because I know the artwork is going to be incredible.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Rocky was going all out.
So excited, yeah. There's been so many times I've been out and had the special editions of Song of Ice and Fire in my cart, and every single time I see that additional $50 per book of shipping, I put it away and I say, not now, not for the foreseeable future. So
I'm sorry, I was responding to Madison.
No, you're solid. The special editions of Song of Ice and Fire, I've almost pulled the trigger on numerous times. And
the folios?
Folios, yeah.
What you got to do is at least last year, I wish I'd known you were looking for them. They did free shipping last year.
Yeah, that's what I would need because every time they put that shipping cost on, I'm like, that I ain't doing that.
Yeah, there are so many folios that I've almost bought where it was just like the shipping immediately was just like, it's not worth it. It's no longer worth it. And we're still talking hundreds of dollars even without the shipping.
Yeah.
Like
I do these. The only thing I pay extra shipping on that I'm willing to do is the Anderida Sun Eater stuff. Like
you're not quite in frame yet. There you go. There you go.
So we got like Queen of Mid Ashes and stuff. So he's got like the novellas that he does with Anderida Books in the UK. Those I'm willing to spend shipping on, but that's only because I love the series so much and I, am allowing myself a little treat. So I'm still waiting. The Dregs of Empire one, like there's a slipcase that's going to hold the first 3 novellas, and they're waiting on that slipcase to allow those of us that have been doing it to order it. So every day I'm looking for my Anderida email. It was supposed to be by the end of December, then it was supposed to be by mid-January, then who knows when it's going to be, but
the printers are super, super backed up.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure.
I've backed a bunch of Wraithmark creative stuff, and I'm just like, any time now, I would love to have I've got probably 6 outstanding Kickstarters that are just waiting because the printers can't keep up.
Yeah, it seems to be the in vogue thing to do now. I think companies like Broken Binding and stuff are in a good spot. So
yeah, they've got their own dedicated printer off to the side that they use. But I know people can use them. Renia by Carl Forshaw. Let's see. Oh, as my back cracks.
You're not even old like me yet, so it'll get worse. Don't worry.
I mean, I'm almost 34.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be 45 in a couple weeks, so we got a little difference in age.
But these feel really good, and I'm pretty sure he had these printed through the same company that does Broken Bindings as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it feels great in the hand. I'm actually reading this one in March.
Nice.
But yeah, that's the whole thing I'm doing here now is my Read My Shelf challenge because unlike Mike, I can't I can't keep doing it.
You want another book buying ban?
No, it's not a ban.
Okay.
It's more of a change of priority.
I got you.
Prioritize what I physically already have here and the series. So if new books in the series come out, or like like say I unhaul a book and I make new space, I can go out and purchase books of series I've already read but I don't own physically and I would like to. Like there's a whole bunch of Drew Hayes stuff that I would love to own, which if you haven't listened to Superpowers, you might like that. I don't know. How are you about superheroes and stuff like that?
It's fine. I'd watched the Marvel movies, even though they've been awful these last couple of years. Like
I haven't.
You're not missing a lot. I
stopped at Endgame, and I was like, you know what? That's a good place. Like
you made a good decision. That's a good business decision. So my wife and I love going to movies. So we have the AMC Stubs membership. So we pay $20 each a month, and you get basically what amounts to unlimited movies. It's not what it is, but it's like 3 movies a week or something. So nobody's going to go to 12 movies a month, least of all us. But we go to 3 or 4 movies usually a month to make sure we're getting value out of our membership. So since we're paying it anyway, we're going to see these terrible, like the Marvels was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And so if nothing else, there is value in having something to make fun of. So that's what Marvel has been recently. So that's good.
Fair enough. I don't even know if there's any movies I'm excited about anymore. Like maybe Argyle. I think Argyle is one that's coming up that I'm kind of interested in. It's Henry Cavill as like a spy, but like he's a fictional character.
Yeah, we'll go see it. I'm not interested, but we'll go see it. She'll want to see it, which is fine. It's got Matthew Vaughn as the director. I know. I want to go see The Boys in the Boat with the rowing team. So it's directed by, it's a drama. So it's a serious movie. It's directed by Clooney, and it's about this group of rowers back in, I think, Depression era. And so they basically became a college rowing team. I can't remember what the college was, Washington State or something. And so it's about their journey all the way to the Olympics and beyond, I believe. So looks pretty cool. I like sports dramas. That one I want to check out. And I want to see Ferrari, even though I'm not a big Adam Driver guy. That looks cool too.
Is Ferrari? So what is that one? I might be confusing this with something else, but I've been seeing clips of. No, that was more of a Lamborghini thing.
So he basically plays the head of the Ferrari company, and it's like a drama. I don't know much beyond that, but I like Ferrari, so we're gonna see some cool cars. So I'm good with that.
Yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of anymore. Pretty much anything. The only movie I think I'm going to watch here soon is the 5th Indiana Jones movie because I'm a glutton for punishment.
I won't spoil your experience. I did not enjoy it. We won't get into why, but unless you really want me to, I'm willing to talk about it. But I hope you enjoy it more than I did.
I think I've watched the first 10 minutes and that was enjoyable.
The first 10 to 15 minutes is a real movie.
Okay.
And it devolves into not a real movie anymore.
Yay. So. This is one I need to watch. Boy and the Heron.
That's animated, right?
Yeah, it's Hayao Miyazaki. I think it won. Did it win like an Oscar or something? It won an award here.
Globe, I think, or something.
Yeah, Golden Globe, which was really, really cool.
I only know that because my wife loves award shows. She watches all. So I don't watch any award shows, but she loves award shows. So
if it's not Doctor Who, or I've been watching some more anime here recently, but other than that, like I stick to my old favorites. I watch Farscape, I watch Stargate, I watch MASH, Hogan's Heroes, and the 1966 Batman. I watch that a lot.
Nice.
I watch what I grew up on. Like I don't really branch off into any new shows anymore.
That's all right. I'm watching Reacher, which I'm really enjoying a lot on Amazon Prime.
Fair enough. I wanted to watch The Wheel of Time.
You watched a few episodes, right?
I have nothing nice to say about it.
There's not a lot nice to say. I didn't mind the first. Like, I think you bounced off at a good point because I felt like it got significantly worse after that. So
yeah, and then like of course there was Rings of Power, and I got about 10 minutes into Rings of Power, and I was just like, this is gorgeous. Nothing's happening.
kind of. The CGI is not great. Power, like there's times where like they're painting armor on people and stuff, and it just doesn't look real to me. It's a world that doesn't look lived in. It's like they show like the shipping dock, and you could just tell that it's a bunch of CGI ships in the wrong amount for how many their army needs. Like it's that kind of stuff just is not great. But the redeeming quality of Rings of Power is that it's hilariously bad. So if you want something to make fun of, that's the show.
I just don't have time for that kind of nonsense. Like I would love to have the time to just watch something to make fun of it. I don't. I mean, I worked 50 hours this week, and then I still got 2 kids and doing YouTube stuff on top of that, like, and reading. Ugh.
So here's what you do. So you don't have to watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
The guy I like is Ryan George, and he does Pitch Meeting. That's his YouTube channel. So watch the Pitch Meeting for Rings of Power. It's one of the very funniest things you will ever watch, where he makes fun of every plot hole. He makes fun of every stupid thing that they do. I love that guy.
Is that the one where they do like in the thumbnails? It's the like really crazy eyes. Yeah. Okay. I've seen those thumbnails around.
I watch way too much Ryan George. He makes me laugh a lot because he has his pitch meetings, and then he has a separate channel where he's just doing skits, and it's always, him playing different characters, and it just makes me laugh. So the concept with the pitch meetings is he's a writer trying to explain to a producer what's going on, and invariably it just devolves into hilarity, and I laugh every time. So any movies that you either didn't enjoy or you didn't have time to watch, just watch the pitch meeting and it'll be fine.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Highly recommended.
Okay. Well, I'm going to segue us into some audiobook stuff.
Cool.
I want to know who your favorite audiobook narrators are.
I mean, I think but there's not a lot of hidden information here. We know that Stephen Pacey is my very favorite narrator of all time. I think he's the best to ever do it.
Great at sex scenes.
Great at everything. But he does make the already strange sex scenes in Abercrombie come to life. Marsters is my second favorite. I love him. I am a huge Simon Vance guy. I think he's for years and years. I love John Lee. He does a lot of stuff that I really enjoy. Someone that I really like that I don't know if you're doing the audiobooks for them, but Eduardo Ballerini.
Oh yeah,
does the Matthew Corbett series. I think he's incredible. I
tweeted at Eduardo when he like reposted.
Did you?
Yeah.
Awesome. I think he's amazing. His Great House is my favorite voice for a character. I think
everything he does is like he's on par with. I've forgotten the name now. The guy who does Sun Eater, like he's on that level.
Yeah, Samuel Rukin, who is another one.
There we go.
In my echelon of loving narrators. Yeah, that's the problem with I'm doing the Disquiet Gods arc right now, and I'm happy to be reading it, but I would be so much happier to be listening to it while I'm reading it. And it's going to be a while. That's true. So yeah, Kellen and Mark and others on the Discord have told me that R.C. Bray would be up my alley. Yeah. I know he does like Expeditionary Force and some other stuff, which I haven't gotten to yet.
Why does that name sound familiar? Hold on, I'm checking.
He's supposed to be incredible. He does mostly sci-fi.
Downloaded. Do I have an R.C. Bray? I thought I did. No, I was thinking of R.C. Belcher. R.S. Belcher. That's Six Gun Turret. But I've heard of Expeditionary Force. It's just not one. I had it And then I was just like, this has to be shelved while I kind of catch up on the books I've been neglecting. I've got like,
series I'd love to check out, but again, there's so many books
it's like 18,
that
isn't there?
that I just haven't started, something like that I just haven't started yet. Which I shouldn't let that bother me, but for whatever reason it does.
Have you done any Travis Baldree narrations?
Yeah, so I did Legends and Lattes, so
Okay.
which was fine. I am in the very big minority of people that liked it but didn't think it was overwhelmingly amazing. So
I got the special edition on, like I backed it
yeah,
on Kickstarter.
I'm happy it exists. I'm happy so many people love it. I think he seems like a cool guy, but just for me, the story didn't do a lot for me, which is what it is. That's fine. I actually got the arc for Bone Dust and whatever the other one was.
Bookshops and Bone Dust.
That's the one, and I haven't done anything with it. So, did you like that one as well?
I've been meaning to read it. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay.
I've heard put that on my to be read pile.
I think that was another one Kyle said wasn't his favorite, but I could be mixing him up with somebody else. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I got about a chapter into it when I did crack it open, and I was just like, I'm not feeling it right now. But I don't know.
I think my problem is I don't like coffee, and everybody that tells me how wonderful the book is a coffee connoisseur. So I don't enjoy the taste of coffee. I don't get coffee. Doesn't make sense to me. So,
do you drink tea?
I do like tea, iced tea. I drink more energy drinks if I need a boost.
Ooh, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
I do my one sugar-free energy drink a day, and I'd limit it at that. One sugar-free Rockstar or Monster a day, and call it good.
No, it tastes great going in. It's when it's coming out that I have an issue with it.
That's detailed. All right, that's good enough. I understand.
That's not that detailed. I could of course go more detailed, but I won't.
I mean, it's your channel. You set the rules. You talk about whatever you want to. That's all right.
We're good. So I popped into your AMA a little earlier today.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I heard you're a little bit of a chess nut.
That is correct. Yes. So I started playing when I was 7. My dad taught me. I actually played pretty competitively throughout high school. I was like, I'm good. I know enough, and I'm good enough to know that I'm good, and I know what my limitations are. I'm sort of like the guy out on the court that plays pickup basketball that was the best player on his high school team. That's effectively where my skill level is. So I could tell you the numbers, but it wouldn't, like, a non-chess player doesn't understand. But just in terms of percentage wise, I'm in the top 1% of players on chess.com. Of the million or so players on there, I'm in the top 1% somewhere. So,
nice.
So I'm good enough to, know when I'm playing poorly, when I'm playing well. I can analyze my game and understand what's going on. I follow chess at a very high level. I've got, like, some people, love basketball players or whatever. I've got my favorite chess players, which is nerdy, but it is what it is. So
very cool. I was in chess club in elementary school, and then I fell off. And I am good enough to know that I'm garbage. But I also still I like playing, but I'm not good. But yeah, you would beat me in like 5 moves.
So Bookish Chaz, if you know Chaz, he actually friended me on there, and he did a challenge game, and I kind of wiped the floor with him. I'm not like putting him on Front Street or whatever, but we haven't really talked about the game or anything, but it was pretty clear the gap in the skill level. So again, I'm not like bragging on myself or whatever, but like that's just how it's always kind of been. You put me in any room, and there's a very good chance I'll be the best player in that room.
Nice.
But not good enough to be, do it for a living or any of that kind of stuff. So
very cool.
I'm confident enough to be able to say that I would be a titled player if I could have devoted time to it coming out of high school.
Daniel, I played my 11-year-old stepchild last week. I spanked him.
Nice. You got to teach him young. Teach him that there's no freebies in life. Show him what's up.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, no, I like the mechanics behind chess. I like the strategy. I also wanted to learn how to play Go. For a long time.
The rules. It feels like a game I would really enjoy. I know that like AI chess is a big thing right now. Engine chess computers playing, and the same thing with Go. The difference is I think that Go has basically been solved. So you put a computer engine and it solves the game, versus chess, it needs to get to, like, the engines are, super powerful, like better than any player could ever be. But like, you give it a random position, it needs to be a certain set number of pieces before it could say white's going to win, black's going to win, or it's going to be a draw, and be 100% accurate on that. And Go, I think, is solved. Checkers, I think, has also been solved, but which, again, it's a difference in the complexity of the game, the rules, the mechanics, all that kind of stuff. I'm terrible at checkers. I can't play it to save my life.
I used to be a really good in like grade school, but I haven't played checkers in probably a decade.
My dad also taught me backgammon. I used to really enjoy backgammon, but I haven't played in many years.
I don't get to play a lot of board games anymore. I think I tried to play my first game of memory with my daughter. She got mad and like she's 3, so she's allowed to do that.
For sure.
That's exactly how that went today. So it was just like, no, Daddy, we're putting away the cards right now. It's like, oh.
I used to really love Monopoly, and I've played like app-based Monopoly, and that's fun, but I haven't really gotten into that recently. So.
Monopoly is how you ruin families.
Correct. Yeah. We played it as a family. We were okay, but I think we knew when the others were cheating and that kind of stuff, and it was fine. So it's all good.
Madison is watching The Queen's Gambit.
Excellent. That's a show I need to watch. I have seen the first episode, but I haven't gone further than that. I know Anna Taylor-Joy is quite a good actress. I've seen her in some stuff. And I know that it started a huge chess boom, Queen's Gambit. Like, they had to like upgrade the servers on chess.com and stuff because they couldn't handle the load. So many people were signing up and this kind of stuff after Queen's Gambit came out. And it's more popular as a game than it's ever been. And a lot of it can be attributed to that.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what the advanced way of ruining. Well, I mean, there's many ways to ruin a family, but.
Very nice.
Pete, you've piqued my curiosity.
Give us the intermediate and advanced options.
Yeah, well, keep it clean, but. Or if you don't want to keep it clean, just DM me. You got me added on Discord. I'll be the rule on whether or not you've crossed the line.
For sure. Hey, let's talk Corbett. I'm ready. Oh, unless you want to talk about something else.
Oh, no, yeah. Whatever you were going to say.
No, let's talk Corbett. I want to know how you felt about the first 3 books and how Providence Rider's going for you.
Okay. So Matthew Corbett is, so far, I really, really enjoy this series. Excellent. My only issue with the series is there's always one chapter.
There is. You're right.
Where McCammon's just like, okay, I've been telling this fantastic, majestic, perfect story. Now let's just turn up the messed up level to 12. Especially make sure the reader can never look at a horse the same way again.
We definitely have that in Speaks the Nightbird. That kind of came out of nowhere, and I just sort of watch like this whenever anyone is getting introduced to the book for the first time. Mike just read it, so a bunch of people on Discord read it for the first time, and those of us that are Corbett veterans were just in there. We're waiting for the chapter number and the block of text to tell us how messed up that chapter is. So good times.
My favorite so far is, of course, Queen of the Damned.
Queen of Bedlam.
Queen of Bedlam, sorry.
Yeah.
Queen of Damned is a movie. Queen of Bedlam was fantastic. Because we're in New York. And we're like, just getting to experience like early New York like that was fantastic. I love the mystery. It also like tones down, like it's a messed up chapter, but it's a little bit more toned down.
Sure.
And then I liked Mr. Slaughter, but at the same time, like Mr. Slaughter ratcheted it back up to like 50.
Uh-huh.
It's just like, I was a little tame in the last book. How can I traumatize the reader today?
There's
Slaughter,
some traumatizing stuff in there. I'll never eat sausage quite the same way.
no thanks. Slaughter as an antagonist terrifies me.
Oh, for sure.
He is just purely evil and insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that really enjoyable.
You'll find as you go, he's one of the more rational bad guys. So you're on to some crazier villains even yet. So I'm excited to see where things go. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but there's some crazy ass people in this book. So in these books,
I've got Providence Rider pulled out somewhere over here. Oh, it's right here. I like the covers. Ooh, that was my hit.
Yeah, they just did the new covers, right? These are the new set of covers. Yeah, he just did these like 2 years ago or something.
Yeah. My Mr. Slaughter is signed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was able to get on eBay. The first, like, it was a pre-release edition where prior to initial release, he included 5 of them in a set that you could pre-order.
Yeah,
and he would sign the first one, which would be Mr. Slaughter, because I don't think he's got the rights.
Yeah, it's some weird deal with rights. That's right, with the first couple books.
Yeah, the first couple books he doesn't have the rights to, which means my shelf looks wonky because the size is all messed up. So I put those after the end of the series instead of before because they're smaller.
Yeah.
And it messes with my OCD a little bit. You not having to be a physical book collector don't suffer from this.
When I do collect books, I want them to match, but I don't have the, like, my day isn't ruined if a font is in the wrong place, as some people's is. But
yeah,
I understand where people are coming from, but it just doesn't impact my life in quite the same way.
You want various ways to ruin your family, read literary fiction. Oh God.
Not wrong.
Kellen says Corbett took over my TBR early last year. Really hope the last book sticks to landing. It's coming out soon, right?
I believe next year. It might be this year, but I think it's next year. Leviathan is going to be the name of it.
Okay.
He just put out a book of short stories, 7 Shades of Hell, and that was quite good.
I really want to get caught. I'll probably, honestly, I want to say I'm going to marathon them. I don't know if I will.
You don't have to. I didn't. I did a couple at a time. Like, I started reading the series back in sometime in 2022 or 2023, and I'd read a couple here and there, and I literally just got caught up here in the last couple months. So you don't have to.
Bangs 1972. Scott, you are a Kindle reader, right? Do you shop the Kindle daily deals?
I do. Even that became a bit of a chore, though, because I would see stuff for $1.99, $2. Oh yeah, I got to have that, and then I don't do anything with it forever. So I go out there to look and to see if anything I want is there. I used to be like, well, I might get to this in the next 20 years, and I do less of that now. But yeah, I do look at the deals. I have a pretty extensive Kindle wish list. So one of the cool things there is it'll tell you when one of your wish list items is a daily deal, and then that makes that nice as well. But yeah, but what I stopped doing, and I need to never start again, is I'd be like, this series looks awesome, I'm going to do this series, and you click on the link and it pulls up the 5 to 10 books or whatever, and it lets you with one click buy everything. I need to stop doing that. That's not smart, because I have entire series that I haven't started book 1 on yet on. So
you see all this?
Yeah.
I've got 370 of these puppies that I haven't read yet.
We don't even want to talk about how many Kindle books and Audible books I have. It's not a pretty picture.
Audible, I'm sitting at probably, that I haven't DNF'd or anything like that, I'm sitting at 23. And then on Kindle, I'm sitting at around 200.
Okay. So I became an Audible member when Audible was new, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I've been a member for that long. I have over 1,000 titles in my Audible library.
Nice.
Many of them I have never listened to and probably will never listen to. But And I do again, it's stupid, but I do the buy your 24 credits at once and then go on a shopping spree with your 24 credits. So I have I've got a very extensive Audible library. Some of the stuff I've listened to over and over again, like I've listened to Gentleman Bastards numerous times. I've listened to some of the stuff that I just love. The First Law series I've listened to countless times, that kind of stuff. So some of it, retains its value, but other stuff I don't even remember having bought it, and that's not good. So
fair enough. That's a lot of audiobooks. I think my entire library is like $300.
The other good thing with Audible is if you're part of Audible Premium, there's the Plus library, and anything in there is free, and you just add it to your library, and that counts towards that over 1,000 that I'm talking about. Like Cormac McCarthy, 90% of his library on Audible is free right now if you're an Audible member. So I have all those added in. Even if I never get to them, they're added into my library.
Yeah, but they yanked those back too, don't they?
I believe so, yeah. I think if they leave the library, they also leave your library, but I've never gone back and checked or whatever.
I've got the Rune Lords currently added to my library, or at least the first Rune Lords book from Dave Farland, who was a mentor to Sanderson.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's an author that Durfee talks about as well. He really likes Farland.
I haven't read him yet. It's funny. I got the mass market paperback of some of the many. No, that's a different book. Some of All Fear. No. My brain just went completely blank.
Will of the Many is James Islington.
Yeah, that's Will of the Many. I know. Hold on. I gotta look at. I'm slightly embarrassed.
No, you're good.
Some of All Men. There we go.
Okay.
Some of All Men. I had a mass market paperback when I was still living at home as a teenager, and then I never read it. I bought it because it was a Darrell K. Sweet cover, and I love the artist because obviously I loved The Wheel of Time, and it was Darrell K. Sweet.
Sure.
And then I never read it, and so I got rid of it, and then I repurchased all 7 books because I'm an idiot. In mass market paperback.
You got to do what you got to do. It's all right.
It's been a year. I still haven't read it.
Hey, I want to talk about Wheel of Time. So,
no.
I need help. I love Wheel of Time. So I'm not going to. What I need help understanding is when you're asked about your favorite book, you don't say book 4. You don't say anything that I would expect to hear. You say, Eye of the World, book 1. I need help understanding why that's your favorite. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I just need help understanding from you why that's your favorite.
So because it's the book I've read the most.
Okay.
I've read Eye of the World 9 times because I've restarted the series 9 times. But I haven't made it through 9 times. I just when I was let's see. So I started in middle school. It was either 6th or 7th grade. And I walked up to a buddy's locker. And he was disgusting with his books. But his locker was full of mass market paperbacks, and we would just chat books all the time. He was the first person. He shouldn't have been reading it, but he was reading it in middle school, in the middle of the gym during assigned reading time or whatever they forced us to do.
I can't wait for my reread of it. That's coming up soon. Anyway, go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, and when I walked up to his locker and opened it, it just plopped onto the floor. And I reached down, picked it up, asked him what it was. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's this thing. Do you want to take it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I read the first book, and then me and my mom went to Borders, and I got a box set of the first 3. I read those, and it's just I fell in love with the series. And when I started, Crossroads of Twilight wasn't out. I think it was coming out.
Kind of wish it had never been put out, but that's neither here nor there. Go ahead.
My last reread, I DNF'd on Crossroads. Mainly to the point where I was like, I've read this series before. I don't have to put up with this nonsense.
But you stopped right before it got great again.
I'm fully aware of what I did. But I was at the point where I was just like, this is painful.
Yeah.
Crossroads is it's a bad book.
I agree. I didn't enjoy it.
But I mean, Knife of Dreams is fantastic. I got Knife of Dreams Christmas Day when it released.
Yeah. I feel like if and when I ever do a reread, I'm just going to skip books 8 through 10. And just read like synopses or something, because those books were so painful for me to get through the first time.
Fair enough. But I mean, the reason I say Eye of the World is it's just, I don't know. I've read it so many times and I've loved it every single time I've read it. I've never not read Eye of the World and been like, this is a chore.
I remember I read the first 3 books when I was in my 20s and enjoyed the heck out of them. And for years, I was like, I need to read Wheel of Time. I need to get to it. I'm a fake fantasy fan. I've never read it. And then finally, during the pandemic in 2020, I went through the whole thing. And I'm so happy I did, because I love the series. But the lows really, really low for me. The highs are as high as anything I've read, but the lows really painful. And could be a me problem. I don't know. But for whatever reason.
Someone's got you beat, I think.
Yeah. That has me beat by quite a bit. Yeah.
Ricky, you should 100% read The Wheel of Time, at least the first book, at least experience the first book.
I would agree.
And honestly, like, again, I've gotten to the point where, like, if people tell me they hate Eye of the World, don't read the series. Don't do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think you should at least go through The Great Hunt personally, because I think that's in many ways one of the better books in the series, but
yeah,
I know where you're coming from. But yeah, I think The Great Hunt is just a masterpiece. I think that is a brilliant book. And then Shadow Rising is my favorite of Jordan's. And then I'm one of those bad Wheel of Time fans that feels like the Sanderlanche is my favorite part of the series. So the 3 books on the tail end are my favorite ones in the whole series.
I actually just picked up a new, Robert Jordan book. Well, new to me. It's Robert Jordan writing as Reagan O'Neill. It's The Fallen Blood, a novel of the American Revolution.
Oh.
It's an historical fiction set in the American Revolution. It's a trilogy of books.
Yep.
And I didn't know it existed. I do now. I have them on audio as well. But I just want to experience a Robert Jordan story for the first time again.
Yep.
See if like, don't get me wrong. Eye of the World and Wheel of Time, I can't say after all the reading I've done, it's still my favorite. I'd be hard pressed to pick out what I like more than the Wheel of Time, but I mean, Sun Eater is objectively better than the Wheel of Time. It's better written. It's got better story flow. It's got better characterization, better exploration of ideas. But I mean, I still love the Wheel of Time.
I get it. I mean, nostalgia is powerful, so there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm never going to be the guy that's like, well, objectively, this is like, I don't trust my opinion that much. Like, I don't think I know what I'm talking about ever. So I'm not going to be the guy that's like, well, this has the best, it's the best to me, but that doesn't make it the best.
I can safely say the sex dynamics or the gender dynamics in Wheel of Time have not aged well at all. It's Battle of the Sexes is what it is.
That's fair, but that's always going to be the case when it's a product of its time.
Yeah.
So try not to worry too much about that kind of stuff, because people are operating under the best of what they had to work with at the time they were writing. So I'm not going to discredit someone based on, that period versus this one. That just, to me, isn't fair to the author.
I actually found those elements bothered me more on an Audible listen.
Okay.
When I read it physically, that stuff never jumped out to me. For whatever reason, Kate Redding, I like Michael Kramer. I like Michael Kramer as a narrator. Kate Redding is like nails on a chalkboard for me sometimes.
I don't love either of them. Kramer kind of puts me to sleep and Redding annoys me, so it's not a good mix. But I've listened to them a lot because I did all of Wheel of Time immersively and I did all of Stormlight immersively, and I've listened to Kramer. I actually like the way he does the Mistborn series, so I've done all the Mistborn immersively. So I've listened to them a ton, but if you set down, these are the people you've listened to the most and you like the least, they're in that Venn diagram somewhere, which is not great. So.
Oh, I'm gonna catch so much hate for this, and I can't remember his name right now. He's one of the Red Rising narrators, and he's
Oh
really
yeah, you don't like my boy TGR. I love TGR.
Tim Gerald Reynolds.
He's my boy.
He's very prolific and he's very good.
I know.
He's just not for me.
That's fine. I get it. I mean I understand that. That I think that's where I land with like someone like Travis Baldree. I think he's very good, but he didn't do anything for me in particular that I found amazing. So so I get it. There's definitely some taste stuff there. I like Marin Ireland is one of my favorite narrators that I didn't mention earlier. She does a lot of like she doesn't do A Man Called Ove, but the name of that author, who I can't think of right now, Frederick Bachman. She does a lot of Bachman books, and she's a narrator I really enjoy.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. I've already mentioned. You already said Eduardo Ballerini.
Oh, so good.
I'm currently listening to Will Patton.
Patton's good.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I like he did 11/22/63 among other stuff. I know he does Mr. Mercedes. He's very good. He does a lot of King books.
Yeah. Luke Daniels. Luke Daniels is another great.
I've heard he's very good. I haven't listened to any of his stuff, so I can't come up with anything on that front.
John, what's his name? John. He did The Tower of Babel, or the Books of Babel.
I haven't read or listened to those, so I'm not sure.
Who does this one? Title details.
It's not John Keating, is it? I've heard some of his stuff.
Oh, Ray Porter. Ray Porter's
Ray Porter rules.
Ray Porter's really good.
You've done Bobiverse, right?
Yes.
So good.
I don't
also
know.
Project Hail Mary.
Yep, I did Project Hail Mary.
So good.
Oh, it's so good on audio. Like, it's almost a crime not to do that one on audio.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Yeah.
Because you lose a lot of the nuance of a particular character in Project Hail Mary if you don't do it on audio.
100% right.
I wonder if that's what he was shooting. It's the only book by, I forgot his name.
Yeah, the Andy
Weir.
Weir, yeah.
Yeah. It's the only book by Andy Weir that I've listened to and or read, and it was phenomenal.
You didn't read The Martian? Read The Martian. It's good.
I watched The Martian.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie. It was one of those ones where it's just like, okay, I've already watched the movie. Am I going to read the book too?
I think there is enough uniqueness there, and there's enough story flow and stuff like that is worth doing. I watched the movie first, and I love the movie too, and I had a great time with the book. That's one where R.C. Braid did a recording of it, but you can't find that narration anywhere.
So they took it down?
It got re-recorded by
Will Wheaton.
Will Wheaton, and I don't love Will Wheaton, but he's fine. He does a serviceable narration for it.
Fair enough.
And then I tried this other book, and I didn't like that at all. So
Josh is correct. Moira Quirk is fantastic.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember what Moira. I've listened to Moira, but I don't remember the book that I listened to. I think she did something for you can tell I'm getting tired. Rob J. Hayes.
It's later there. Sorry about that, man. I didn't mean to keep you up past your bedtime or nothing.
It's fine.
Just kidding.
It's perfectly fine. No, I work today as well. So
yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I've heard this as well, that Artemis wasn't exactly a.
That was the one I bounced off of. It had, to me, kind of a cool, not premise, but it had kind of a cool setting. Kind of set on a space station on Mars and stuff. But I was not vibing with the main character at all. And I was doing it through audio, and the audio was fine, but it wasn't anything that kept me going. So I bounced off of that.
Frank Muller is a legend.
Correct.
And I am so sad he didn't get to finish the Dark Tower.
Yeah, his recordings, especially for Wizard and Glass, I thought he was phenomenal.
He did a
The
great.
other guy that took over for him, I thought was very good too, but just didn't hold a candle to Frank Muller.
Honestly,
Or Goodell, I think is the other guy's name.
that might Cadell, Lindell. I don't know.
Goodell, I think.
Goodell.
Guidall, something like that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Who did Powder Mage?
I don't think I've actually listened to those. I read the first series years ago and thought it was good, but it isn't anything that's stuck with me in particular. I thought it was
the
good.
the first trilogy is not very good. The second trilogy is where it's at.
That's what I've heard. I thought the first trilogy was fine, but it was nothing that convinced me to keep going. But I've heard that second one is good.
Let's see. Powder Mage. Who was that? It's gonna bug me because I literally saw that he had narrated a book recently, and I snagged it up.
I don't know about you, but I'm just thankful I live in the era of Google. Because
Yeah, right.
the number of times I'm like, is that guy? And I can just do a quick search and figure out what's going on. Really helpful for someone with a bad brain like mine.
Yeah, So it's not Daniel Dorsey. It's not Christian Rodska.
Oh, I think I'm familiar with that person. If it's the guy I'm thinking of, he does the Lost Fleet series, which I enjoy. It's a sci-fi series by
entirely
a former naval admiral. Lost Fleet. That's a series I think you would kind of like, but it's a zillion books. It's broken into sub-series. So the first series is 6 books, and then he does like a sequel series. It's a quartet, and then he just keeps going and going. So
Josh, I did read the first. I read The Unhewn Throne, the first book, and I didn't hate it. I just never felt the drive to continue.
I haven't read any Stavely, so I have nothing to add to that other than it seems like it was something people didn't love.
It may most people disliked it more than I did.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just like, it was a perfectly fine reading experience. Like I didn't notice a lot of what people were complaining about with Stavely.
Sure.
But at the same time, like I was like, okay, it wasn't like mind blowing, but it wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was just one of those ones where like I meant to read it and then months went by and I never came back to it.
Sure.
And I've been getting a little better. Well, I'm trying to get through all the stuff on my shelf that I've already started, so that I can just kind of have a little bit of a fresh start and then read freely from my shelves.
Yep.
But that's going to take me till almost April to clean up. Yeah, Pete didn't like it at all. It was really bad for me. I didn't have an issue with it.
I feel like some of the complaints were that it was too derivative and stuff. Is that what people were complaining about, or was it other stuff?
I don't rightly remember. If
it's that, that's not something that would bother me because people take influences all the time. Like that never bothers me. So
yeah, there was a big read along on Alan's Discord for the first.
I remember when it happened. I remember Jake hated it and some other people, but I don't remember what the complaints were.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you, mainly because like I wanted to be a part of the read along, but I'm terrible at commenting in read along chats, even my own.
Yeah.
Like I have to constantly remind myself of like, oh, I just read 40% of the book and I haven't mentioned anything about it to anybody. I better go update somebody. Like I'm awful at it. Mainly because I'm too busy reading the darn book.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not a great buddy reader either for most things. If it's me and a very small group of people, that's cool. But if it's a big group of buddy reading, I kind of bow out and just read everybody else's comments. I feel like I don't have anything to add most of the time.
I'm the same way. Like it could be a buddy read I'm hosting on my Discord, and I'll just be like, yeah, I've got nothing to add. You guys seem to be having a great time chatting to each other. I feel like if I start commenting, I'm just gonna break the conversation flow, and I don't know. I'm bad at talking on Discord sometimes. Like I haven't commented in Mike's Discord in Except for today to tag you in the video it's been months.
Yeah.
Awful.
I mean, it's too hard to make. Like, I hang out in Mike's Discord, and that's about it. Once in a while, I'll pop into Jimmy's, but I have probably it feels like 30 Discords I'm a member of, and I just don't have time or the inclination to go into all of them and see what's up. It's overwhelming to me to even think about what it would require to be up to date on all these different Discords.
There was a time I hit the Discord limit. Like I hit the server limit, and they were just like, "Yeah, you can't join this. You're in too many.
Nice.
You need to go get a life." And I was just like, "Oh, okay." And so then like I was just like, maybe I do need to get a life, and I like left 20 servers.
I'm a member of all kind. Like I'm a member of Alan's. I'm a member of yours. I'm a member. I'm in all of these Discords. I just don't do anything in most of them. So
same. I've been. I think I've been in Alan's server for, I don't know, 2-3 years. I maybe talked in there 15 times.
Yeah. I remember when I first started on, like when all this was new to me and I didn't even know what BookTube was, and I joined Daniel Green's server. I took like, I'm out.
Same.
I'm like, I
can't. I did the exact same thing. I couldn't get anybody to talk to me.
I didn't even try. I just saw all these channels and sub channels and stuff. I'm like, this is too much. I can't. I'm too old for this. So I jumped out of that.
Ricky, you can go into settings and you can disable notifications if that helps at all.
That's the first thing I ever do when I join a new server. Absolutely.
Disable notifications?
Yes, absolutely.
That's fair.
Because the default setting is every time there's a post, notify you.
Yeah.
And it gets old within 1 minute. So no.
If it's a small server, that's not bad if it's not super active. If it's like a big server, no.
I usually suppress it and have it just if it's at me, then give me a notification. That's about it.
Pretty much the same. Well, before we wrap up, I am going to ask you to rank all of the Robin Hobb subseries.
I've done this before. Do you know what answer I'm going to give, or this is going to be new information to you?
I'll guess. I think Rain Wilds is your least favorite.
Okay.
I think Fitz and the Fool is your favorite.
Okay.
I think Farseer is going to be your second to least favorite. Then, so we're going to go in terms of least favorite to favorite. We're going to go Rain Wild, Farseer, Tawny Man, Live Ship, Fitz and the Fool.
Very close. Very, very close. I like Tawny Man more than Live Ship. But otherwise, you had it nailed. For me, Fitz and the Fool, Tawny Man, and Live Ship are 3 perfect trilogies. I wouldn't change a word. And I know, plenty of people will tell me that's wrong, and plenty of people tell me there's all these problems that I don't. That's just how I feel. Farseer is a very strong entry, and there's a lot of stuff I love about it. And every time I read it again, I love it more. Rain Wild, we were talking a little bit before we started. The lore stuff in there, I think, is very cool. But in terms of a standalone, not standalone, but in terms of its own thing, it is very clearly the weakest for me. And it's not something. So I went back through when Mike was kind of reading stuff. I'm like, okay, well, I'll read alongside you. So I reread Farseer's my 3rd time reading that. I reread Live Ships my 3rd time with that. I reread Tawny Man alongside him. That was my 2nd time. And I just haven't had the inclination to now reread. And it would be my 1st time rereading the Rain Wild, even though I'm desperate to do a reread of Fitz and the Fool. It's my favorite trilogy.
Fair enough. Have you read the Megan Lindholm and His Older Son?
I know Jake has read some of it. I have, was it the Wizard and Pigeon, or I don't know what her stuff really is.
Yeah, it's like Wizard and Pigeon or something like that.
Something like that. I have that one, I think, and I haven't gotten to it yet. and this is where I'm terrible. I said we're going to do a read along of Soldier Son trilogy, which is her under Robin Hobb, but it's her non Fitz stuff. And I had read the first one previously, so that was a reread. And I reread it along with everybody else, and they all went along and read books 2 and 3. Jake actually had book 2, Forest Mage, as one of his best books of the year. And that was about when I bounced off, because that was when my reading slump hit hard. So I still have those 2 to do. I still have all of our Megan Lindholm stuff to do at some point. I don't know when that'll be. The biggest problem with the Lindholm stuff is that a lot of it is not available in Kindle and or Audible. It's just available in physical form. And I don't care enough to get it in that format. Either that, or some of them are on Kindle, but they're like $20 for some reason. And I ain't spending that on a Kindle book.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That sounds like the publisher's just being greedy.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's like anything else, that whatever the market will bear, but that doesn't mean I have to be in a hurry to go grab it. So
fair enough. Well, this was a lot of fun. I do have to go deal with a very small, tiny human.
Okay. Good.
Thank you for joining, everybody. If you are still here, please check the description box down below. I do have Scott's channel linked. Please go and subscribe to his channel. It's delightful. It's very insightful. And yeah, Scott, you're a wonderful guy. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
Yes, sir, man. I'll come back anytime, and I'll have you on my channel at some point. This was a lot of fun.
Anita, I'm so sorry.
Oh, what?
Well,
I enjoy Anita.
There's the whole rewatch. We did talk some Robin Hobb, Anita, so there is all of that for you to go and explore. But that's all I've really got for you today, guys. Thank you again, Scott, for joining us, and we are now at the long goodbye.